Hi, everybody. I'm here with Chris Barton. Chris, thanks very much for taking the time to join me. Could you just give us a quick introduction? What do you do? Who do you work for? What's your role responsible for?
Hi, Adam. Yeah, good to be here. And so, yeah, my name's Chris Barton. I look after talent for previously Dialog Semiconductor, who were acquired this year by Renesas, a Japanese headquartered company, 20-ish thousand employees, global organization in the electronics industry. And so, yeah, I look after talent, which is recruitment, training, employee experience as the three core areas.
So, I mean, I have to find out about how does it work? Team and structure and different countries, and I'm sure it's probably quite complex. Give us the sort of summary.
Yeah, so it splits into those three areas. So talent acquisition, we have traditionally with Dialog a RPO partnership with CLO that run the hiring for us globally. With Renesas, it's a very different model. So they have internal teams in some regions and agency delivery model in some countries. And so it's a hybrid mix up within talent acquisition. Then within talent management, we have an internal team doing learning and development, career and succession planning. And then within employee experience and engagement, we have a team that are based all over in the UK, in Asia, in the US that support us with things like employee engagement initiatives. We partner with a company called Glint to do listening to our employees and then take action from that.
Okay, so I mean, big kind of acquisition, or was it a merger? Was it an acquisition? So
it was. We were bought. So I was Dialog previously, and so Renesas acquired Dialog.
You'll have been spending quite a lot of your time this year working on the deal and working on the integration and all that type of stuff. What's been the most interesting or frustrating or exciting, parts of it?
So I think the most interesting thing is being acquired by a Japanese headquartered company. I've never done that before. I've always worked for either British or American firms, and I think many of the people in the Dialog team are experienced in working with Japan for the first time, and culturally it's very different. And really interesting work and some fantastic people and different experiences. We've been reading the Culture Map by Erin Mayer. I don't know if you've read that book, but
I've not, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a cool book for learning about how different cultures approach different things. And Japan is right on the end of the continuum of many communication styles versus the US and versus the UK. And so it's been a real lesson in trying to make sure that we adapt the way that, or I personally adapt the way that I communicate and work with people to make things effective. Fascinating.
Yeah. So what do you think from the perspective, most of the people listening to this and watching this are going to be in the talent acquisition space. I know that's now just part of your role, but with your talent acquisition hats on, what are the most important things that you're thinking about today? What are the most important things in your industry? And what are the external factors which are impacting on what you're trying to achieve as well?
So the market in the semiconductor industry is hot right now, I guess like it is everywhere. And so the demand on electronics, the demand on IoT, on connectivity is higher and continues to grow every year. The demand on having more devices, more powerful devices, longer battery life. And that's the place that we play in, automation, sensor technology. And so the number of companies that are competing for the talent that we need is high. And so we have to be competitive in how we go out to the market and creative in how we get talent through the door. I think the biggest things that are most interesting to me are the impact of COVID on removing the walls of location as a barrier for where you can access talent. So to me, suddenly the whole world is your playground for going and getting talent as long as you can payroll people and you can pay the appropriate taxes. So that completely changes the game, but we haven't fully evolved yet. I haven't seen many companies fully evolve to the potential of that. Yeah. But it also means that anybody can hire your talent as well. So one, how do you switch on to have access to all of the talent that could be out there? Where are the pools? Suddenly data becomes way more important to inform which cities should we be targeting? Where are the talent pools? Could we start to, instead of recruiting in proximity to where the hiring manager is or 30-minute or hour-long radius of an office location as we did in the past, let's go where the people are, fish where the fish are. So getting access to data and insight to drive that is important. And then on the flip side, as a lot of people are writing about right now, the Great Resignation, more people can come and get your people, you know. So suddenly being in a remote location isn't enough to keep your talent. That remote location is now accessible to all of the companies who switch on and start recruiting globally rather than just within their office footprint. And so that to me is the biggest opportunity and our biggest threat, which means we've got to invest a hell of a lot more time on retaining our employees. What are we doing to drive engagement? As I mentioned before, we've seen like rollout of stay interviews with employees. How do you identify critical talent so you know who are the people that you have to retain because they have huge commercial value to stick with you? Some of those things, I see them growing and becoming more common across the industry next year.
Okay, so I agree with everything you just said. There's a lot going on. Tell us about like, what are you thinking about in terms of solutions? What are the things that you've maybe implemented which have been effective for you, or things that you thought might have worked that maybe haven't, or what are you considering? What about the tactical? How do we adapt? How do you adapt?
Yeah, so I guess the tactical from a location perspective is to get access to data. So we've bought LinkedIn Insights as an example to start presenting to people at the front of searches, hey, here's where some pools might be, and starting to push back if we're being told for search for talent in an area where it doesn't exist, or these roles that have been open 100+ days and you're not getting anywhere. Can you change the parameters somehow? So that's a really tactical way of going. Have you thought about remote workers? Have you thought about other locations? There's a lot of opportunity in that versus before where you just keep trudging away at the same project. The other thing is culture, right? For retention, culture is everything. And so we've got really clear cultural vision. It's slightly different at Renesas versus where I've seen in the past, whereby the culture isn't saying this is what we are. Their cultural elements or behaviors or values are about this is what we want to be more like. And so there's a big project around driving through the culture, almost like we're at the beginning of a journey, a bunch of companies that have been stuck together through acquisition, big and amazing customer relationships, but how do we embed a real culture of ambition to bring those together and be united and get people who want to come in and help that happen, and trying to talk about that. I think culture, the other thing that we're thinking about is how do you do remote culture really well? What does working for Renesas from home feel any different to working from home for a different company? And trying to think of ways that we can do that through provision of kit, through personalized touches of experience of being at home. You know, can your boss visit you at your home and go for a walk or bring something to you? Or are there ways that it can feel like the company really care about you rather than you change jobs and literally you turn up at the same home office on Monday, you know, and you get 10K more? Well, why wouldn't you go and do it if there's no emotional connection? Or so I think there's something in those personalized experiences that we haven't cracked yet, but I think that's what we're going to invest some time in as we get into next year.
Great stuff. Okay, the final thing I just want to ask you about is recruiting for your team. What have you got? Obviously, I think with two companies coming together, it might be a bit early days, but are you hiring in the TA area specifically just now? And tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're right at the beginning of an HR transformation, and so there will be as the talent kind of as I learn more about the organization through the first quarter of next year, I'm certain that there'll be opportunities both for the internal talent that we've got within the organization and externally to come in and help manage some of that transformation. So there's definitely going to be opportunities, and there's a lot of recruitment to be done. And so I'm sure there'll be lots of opportunities for recruiters like every other company right now. But it's going to be an exciting next 12 months for sure.
Great. Well, for anybody in talent acquisition out there, one to watch, Renesas, Renesas.
That's right.
And maybe follow Chris on LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Thanks, Adam.
Chris, thanks very much for taking the time to come and talk to me.
Pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Catch you soon.
Cheers.